It's amazing how much stuff is getting personalized these days. You got
Yeah.
your music streaming, picking out tunes you didn't even realize you'd love, and then
Yay.
online shopping practically reading your mind, recommending things you didn't even know you needed yet.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like this whole personalization thing is just exploding everywhere.
It really is.
But have you ever thought about where else this trend might be making a really big splash?
Mm, I'm not sure. Tell me more.
Well, think about like your last trip to the dentist.
Okay, so beyond picking out a new flavor of toothpaste.
Exactly. We're going to deep dive today into this super interesting report about the dental 3D printer market.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we're not just talking about some slow and steady growth here. This is like a full-blown explosion of new ideas in dental care.
A dental 3D printer market, huh? So we talking like some futuristic Star Trek gadget or what?
Well, sort of, but it's actually already here.
Hmm.
The report says this market's going to hit like $5.34 billion globally just in 2025.
Wow, so that's like already a pretty big deal.
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Get this, by 2033, they're predicting it'll skyrocket to 35.69 billion with a B.
That's incredible to grow almost 7 times bigger in less than 10 years. You don't see that every day.
No, you don't. The report actually calculates the compound annual growth rate, the CAGR,
Yeah.
for that period at a whopping 26.80%.
Okay, so we're talking way faster than a lot of other hot tech sectors. That's a serious shift happening in how dentists do their thing.
Absolutely. So the big question is, what's fueling this insane growth?
Well, it seems like two main things are at play. First, there's this huge demand for dental solutions that are super personalized, like tailored to each patient's unique mouth. Everyone's different.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so customized solutions, but the report also mentions this thing called digital dentistry.
Right. Digital dentistry. That's a pretty broad term, though. What exactly about it is pushing this 3D printer market forward?
Good point. What parts of it are we talking about here?
Well, digital dentistry, it covers a lot of ground, from digital scans of your teeth and gums to this really high-tech, computer-aided design and manufacturing, CAD/CAM.
Who got CAD/CAM?
Yeah, and 3D printers, they fit right into this whole digital flow. So instead of those gooey molds they used to use, dentists can use digital scanners to get like a perfect virtual model of your teeth.
Ah, yes.
Then they use that digital blueprint to 3D print stuff like super accurate physical models or even those guides they use for implants.
Interesting.
And sometimes even the final prosthetic devices like crowns or bridges, it's all digital. It's pretty amazing.
So potentially faster appointments, less waste. It sounds pretty efficient overall.
Definitely. So we've got this huge global market for dental 3D printing.
Right.
But are all areas jumping on board equally, or are some regions adopting this tech faster than others?
That's what I was wondering. Where's all the action happening?
Well, according to the report, North America's the front runner. Right now, they've got over 37% of the global market share, which is about $1.98 billion in 2025.
Wow, North America really taking the lead.
Yeah, and the U.S. is a big chunk of that, something like $1.56 billion in 2025 alone.
So what's behind North America being so far ahead? Is it mostly patients pushing for it, or are dentists just more into the tech there?
It's probably a combination of things. You've got this really strong network of dental labs in North America. They've been pretty quick to adopt these new technologies.
Okay.
Plus, healthcare policies over there tend to be more open to innovative stuff like 3D printing. And then you've also got a lot of dentists who've already invested in those CAD/CAM systems. So it's kind of like the perfect breeding ground for 3D printer adoption.
I see. So the whole ecosystem's kind of set up for it.
Exactly. And the report predicts that North America is going to keep growing strong at a key AGR of 25.4% all the way to 2033, hitting a market size of $12.06 billion. That's billion with a B.
Wowzers.
Okay.
So North America's booming. What about Europe? Are they in the game too?
Oh, yeah, Europe's a major player. They hold over 29% of the global market, which is about $1.55 billion in 2025.
Not too far behind North America.
Nope. And they're projected to grow at a solid AGR of 25.4% too, reaching $9.46 billion by 2033.
So who are the big players in Europe?
Well, you've got the UK, Germany, France, Italy, Russia, Spain. They're all driving this growth, each with their own little quirks in how the market's shaping up.
Interesting. So what's pushing Europe's adoption? Are they similar to North America, or?
There are definitely some similarities, like having a really advanced dental sector, but Europe also has some unique advantages. They've got a pretty well-defined system for regulating medical devices, and there's a long history of dental research and development going on over there.
Okay, so they're well positioned for this kind of thing.
Exactly. Like the European Union, they have these regulations about medical devices that actually encourage using biocompatible materials in 3D printing. for dental stuff. So that can really boost innovation and get people using the tech.
Got it. So we've got North America and Europe as the current leaders, but I remember the report also talked about Asia Pacific having some crazy high growth numbers. What's going on over there?
Yeah, the Asia Pacific or APAC region, they're currently holding about 24% of the global market share. That translates to like $1.28 billion in 2025.
Hmm. So a decent chunk, but still behind the big two.
But here's the kicker. Their projected CAGR is 30.1%, the highest out of all the regions.
Seriously.
Yeah, by 2033, their market could hit a massive $10.53 billion.
Talk about a boom.
That's insane. Who's leading the charge in APAC?
The main players are China, India, Japan, South Korea. They're all seeing a huge surge in demand for this technology.
So what's fueling this crazy growth in APAC? Is it just that they're catching up or?
Well, it's partly that, but the report says there's more to it. There's a ton of investment happening in healthcare infrastructure across the whole region, and at the same time, more and more people are getting access to quality dental care. So naturally, the demand for advanced solutions like 3D printing is going through the roof.
So it's like a perfect storm of factors all coming together at once.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing to see. Okay, so we've covered the big players, but what about the rest of the world? South America, the Middle East, Africa, what's happening in those regions?
They may not have the same market share as the leaders, but they're definitely not standing still. They're seeing significant growth too. South America's got over 3.8% of the market with a projected CAGR of 27.2%. The Middle East is around 4% with a CAGR of 27.4%. And Africa, even though it's starting smaller at about 2.2%, is projected to grow at a CAGR of 26.4%.
Wow, so it really is a global phenomenon.
It is. And within those regions, you've got key markets like Brazil and Argentina and South America, Saudi Arabia and the UAE in the Middle East, and South Africa and Africa. They're all contributing to this growth in their own ways.
So different regions, different stages, but all moving in the same direction.
Exactly. What's interesting is that the reasons behind this adoption, they vary quite a bit depending on where you look.
Oh, that makes sense. So what's driving things in these different areas?
Well, in South America, a lot of it has to do with the fact that dental insurance is becoming more common, so more people can actually afford these advanced treatments.
Makes sense.
In the Middle East, there's a huge emphasis on cosmetic dentistry. And, 3D printing offers amazing precision and customization for those kinds of procedures. So it's a perfect fit.
Interesting. And what about Africa?
Africa's got a unique situation. Their market's still pretty small, but there's a growing awareness that 3D printing could be the key to making dental care more affordable and accessible for everyone, in the long run.
That's a really important point. So it's not just about fancy tech. It's about making quality care available to more people.
Exactly. So we've talked about the overall market growth, but it's also important to look at the specific applications that are driving this demand. And the report highlighted one area that's seeing particularly rapid growth: crowns and bridges.
Crowns and bridges.
Yeah.
Why is that segment leading the charge?
Well, first off, there's just a constant high demand for dental restorations like crowns and bridges. People are always needing them.
Right. I guess those are pretty common dental issues.
Exactly. And 3D printing just happens to be perfect for making these kinds of prosthetics.
Oh.
For starters, the digital workflow allows for super accurate designs based on those detailed scans of your mouth. This means the restorations fit better and need less tweaking after they're made.
So less time in the chair.
Yep. And then there's the speed factor. Dental practices or labs can produce these things way faster with 3D printing. It's much more efficient for everyone involved.
Faster turnaround times. That's a win for both the dentist and the patient.
Absolutely. And that's a big part of why the crowns and bridges category is growing so fast.
So it's not just that 3D printing can do it. It's that it can do it better and faster than traditional methods.
Exactly. It's a real game changer for this specific application.
So far, we've focused on all the positives, all the reasons why this market is booming. But what about the potential downsides? Are there any roadblocks that could slow this whole thing down?
That's a good question, and the report does mention some potential challenges. One of the big ones is the cost.
Oh, right. I bet those fancy 3D printers aren't cheap.
Not at all. The initial investment to buy a professional-grade dental 3D printer can be quite steep, and then you've got the ongoing maintenance costs on top of that.
So for smaller dental practices or labs, that could be a real barrier to entry.
Definitely. It's not like buying a regular desktop printer for your home office. These things are serious investments.
So cost is one hurdle. What other challenges are out there?
Another important consideration is the whole issue of biocompatibility with the materials being used.
Right.
The stuff they use to print these dental devices, it has to be safe to have in your mouth long term.
Oh, right, of
For
course.
sure. And then there's the whole regulatory landscape. It can be pretty complex, making sure that all the materials meet the necessary standards and that the printed devices are safe and effective.
I imagine those regulations are probably different in different parts of the world, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So navigating all of that can be a real challenge, especially for companies trying to bring new products to market.
Those are definitely important factors to consider. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about using it responsibly and making sure it's safe for patients.
Absolutely. So we've talked about the drivers, the challenges. Where do we go from here? What's next for this market?
Yeah, what trends should we be keeping an eye on?
Well, the report highlights a couple of exciting developments that could really shape the future of dental 3D printing. One of the big ones is the integration of artificial intelligence, or AI.
AI in dentistry. That sounds super futuristic.
It does, but it's actually closer than you might think. Imagine AI algorithms that can optimize the design of a crown, for example, making it as strong and perfectly fitting as possible.
Wow, so like AI dentists, basically.
Sort of.
Okay.
Or you could have AI-powered systems that monitor the printing process to make sure everything's going smoothly and the quality is top-notch.
That's incredible. So
Yeah.
AI is one trend to watch.
Right.
What else is on the horizon?
Another big trend is the rise of chairside 3D printing,
Chairside meaning.
meaning right there in the dentist's office. We touched on this earlier with the idea of same-day crowns and bridges. It's all about giving dentists the ability to print certain devices right then and there during the patient's visit.
Wow, that'd be amazing. No more waiting weeks for a crown.
Exactly. It streamlines the whole process and makes it so much more convenient for the patient. And as these compact dental 3D printers become more user-friendly and affordable, more and more dental practices are going to be able to offer this kind of service.
So it's like bringing the lab right to the patient's chair.
Exactly. It's a big shift in how dental care is delivered.
Okay, so we've talked about the trends, but what about the companies involved in all of this?
Yeah.
What does the competitive landscape look like for dental 3D printing?
Well, the report describes it as a highly competitive market. You've got a mix of big global players and smaller, more specialized companies all vying for a piece of the pie.
So who are the big dogs in this space?
Some of the key players you'll hear about are 3D Systems, Stratasys, LTD, and Formlabs. They're all major forces in the 3D printing world, and they've got a strong foothold in the dental industry.
And what makes them stand out from the crowd?
Well, they all have these extensive portfolios of 3D printing solutions and really well-established distribution networks. But more importantly, they're all constantly innovating, coming up with new materials, new applications, trying to stay ahead of the game.
So it's a pretty dynamic market. Lots of competition pushing everyone to be better.
Exactly. And you see a lot of these companies forming partnerships to combine their strengths.
Oh, like what?
Well, there was a good example back in February 2022. 3D Systems teamed up with a company called Ceremco Dental AG.
What do they do?
Ceremco, they're experts in dental materials. So they brought that knowledge to the table while 3D Systems brought their cutting-edge printing technology.
Smart move.
And of
Combining the best of both worlds.
Exactly. This kind of collaboration is really important for driving the whole field forward. You need both the hardware and the materials to create truly effective and affordable digital dentistry solutions, whether it's for a big lab or a single dentist's office.
It's like the saying, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have, from the market size to the technology, the trends, the challenges. It's been a fascinating deep dive into the world of dental 3D printing.
It really is.
So if you had to boil it all down to one key takeaway for our listeners, what would it be?
I think the main point is this. The dental 3D printer market, it's not just about growth. It's about a fundamental shift in how we approach dental care. It's about moving towards greater customization, more precision, better efficiency, and ultimately a better experience for the patient.
It's like taking something that was already pretty high-tech and making it even more so.
Exactly. And when you look at those impressive growth figures we talked about, and the fact that this is happening all over the world, it's clear that this isn't just a fad, it's a real revolution in dentistry.
From North America and Europe, leading the way to Asia Pacific, catching up fast, and South America, the Middle East, Africa, all joining the party. It's a truly global phenomenon.
Absolutely. And it's only going to get bigger and more impactful in the years to come.
It's definitely exciting to see where this technology will go next. But I want to leave our listeners with a thought. As 3D printing keeps advancing and becomes more accessible in all areas of healthcare, how might it change things beyond just dentistry?
Oh, that's a great question to ponder.
Right. What could it mean for other medical fields? How could it personalize and revolutionize healthcare as a whole? What would that look like for individual patients and for the entire industry?
It's definitely something to think about.
It is. It's a future full of possibilities, and it's unfolding right before our eyes. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of dental 3D printing. It's a topic that's sure to keep evolving, and we'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way.
Absolutely. Until next time.